Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is that you inky savages are joining us for episode of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast. I got that all wrong. I say this all the time. But episode number 162 of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast. It's been a long day, folks. But thank you for joining us. And this week, we want to talk about something really quick. It ties into sponsorships, but I think you'll like what I'm about to talk about. Hold on. I can't stand that I have that garbage bag hanging behind me, but whatever.
Oh, is it a garbage bag?
Yeah, this is the Benu Gamma Green Fountain Pen.
Gamma green.
Gamma Green. Tom, would you talk about this?
Oh, would I?
Yeah, talk about it. Because it's an exclusive, Gold Spot exclusive. And it was color designed by
the
yours
brain
truly.
nugget.
The brain nugget came from
PenBoyRoy.
right here. Yep, that's right. Mm-hmm. So that puppy right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
He stuck it underneath his hat and now it
Yep.
looks like a nugget. That's a new way to wear a pen. I like it.
Yeah. So I didn't write up anything for this. I actually just came up with the color and name. But the write-up...
In contrast to the Pentertainment exclusive pen, which you had very intimate involvement in.
This one I kind of just picked the color.
You were just like, you know what? I like the Skull and Roses pen. Bryce, make it in green.
Right.
Because I like green.
But a very specific green. I was extremely specific about it. I even gave them like the color numbers and stuff like that. And
Pantone, yeah.
whatever you want to call it. But talk about the pen, the price, and the where they can get it, using what link, and using a coupon code. I'm always doing sponsorship. I want you to have a crack.
Okay,
at
so
it.
I'll step in here. Step in a little bit.
I want you to step in with also, because you wrote out this really beautiful read for it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know where that came from. Like, people know, even though I came up with the color for the pen and the name, there's no way that my stupid pea-sized brain would come up with the read that you created for it. It was just, I read it, I'm like, man, that's beautiful. Like, holy bejesus, that is awesome. I'm like,
because it is a very deep and serious pen. It is not to be taken very lightly.
Right.
It's a very deep theme. So, but yeah, because Skull and Roses, it's contrasting life versus death. So very serious stuff that we're dealing with. It's very heavy stuff that we're dealing with, and your subject of Gamma Green. So I took it as Gamma being a very transformative element. It was something that in superhero lore, an ordinary person gets subjected to some sort of massive break, like a trauma, like an event that is just so extraordinary and outstanding that it for a normal person it could be totally destructive, like life ending, life altering, like in a negative way. But for somebody who's like a superhero or a surviving person, somebody who's powering through it, it's something that defines them and makes them overcome it. So that's kind of like the angle that I was going on when I wrote the description for it, because that's why I kind of feel like, well, this life versus death thing, that contrast really provides kind of the basis for that. And then you just have, I mean, you could call it, let's say, like we were throwing around other names in terms where we're saying it's like, oh, it's toxic green or it's like poison green or something, but you were really like into gamma, and I thought that was pretty cool, because that's the gamma radiation is what turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk, and the Hulk is being like one of the strongest superheroes ever, member of the Avengers. It's a signal of like something traumatic happening that can then make you stronger because of it.
I think that's really awesome. I was also considering radiation green, but then I feel like it would have never gotten past customs when it came into the U.S. Right?
Anything, even for example, I think at the time we were importing the or Retro 51 was importing the pizza pen, and it was flagged in customs saying that it's you're trying to import food, like it's not against, it's a pen, it's for food. So they get confused when you use names in there, so you definitely don't want to put anything that might raise some alarm when it's not needed.
Right. And how can people get this wonderful pen?
Oh, they could get it
The Benu
by
Gamma
going
Green.
to the most wonderful website to purchase fine writing instruments, which is goldspot.com.
Wait a
I've
minute.
obvious-
Let's stop. You're screwing this up. All right. This pen is
Oh,
available
right. Oh, sorry.
exclusively.
The affiliate link below. I am sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot. I lost my place. Yes. But that affiliate link ends up going to goldspot.com. Come on. You got to realize I do this all day long, and then like I'm expected to change it all of a sudden to, description. There it is. It's in the description below. The affiliate link. Do the affiliate link. Help
Right,
out
so-
the podcast. Help out Roy. The affiliate link.
So the Gamma Green is available exclusively at Goldspot Pens. It's available immediately, and it's limited to 100 pieces in the world. Well,
Yes.
99, because I actually got one before everybody else. So 99 pieces. They're not numbered, and they are available using the affiliate link in the description below. And please make sure you use that affiliate link, and make sure to use coupon code Garfield at checkout for an additional savings on the one, the only, the coolest, the bestest and greatest pen ever created in the history of anything created ever.
There's a lot of that
Pen.
going around these days.
Right. I just went off on such a tangent, I forgot what the point of the sentence was. But check out the affiliate link, purchase the pen using the affiliate link, and use coupon code Garfield for an additional savings. Okay.
With you moving it around like that, it almost kind of like it blurs and it kind of looks like a dill pickle.
Okay. I was thinking like an irradiated rod.
Yes.
Gamma.
No,
Gamma.
it looks kind of looks like a little pickle spear.
Right. Okay.
'Cause it's
So,
green.
anyway, yes. So, thank you, Luxury Brands of America, who are also sponsors of this podcast, for making this pen happen. And thank you, Goldspot Pens, for making it happen and investing in it, even though Kieran didn't really like the Skull and Roses. Though she's open-minded. She was like, even though I don't like it, a lot of people seem to like it, and I'm willing to do it. So
Yeah.
she's cool peoples. So
We work like that where it doesn't have to be like, everybody has to love it in order to be on board with it. It's like if you feel pretty strong about it and you could back it up with some evidence, being like, oh well, the other Skull and Roses do pretty well, and people like the smolder, the black and red one, and the green would just be so much different. And PenBoyRoy's going to go around the entire United States selling this pen at all the pen shows. Like, he's going to be promoting it for us all the time. So it's going to be a winner. It's going to be a clear proven winner.
it's a number 5 size stainless steel nib with it's a Yovo nib. It's unscrewable. You can take it in and out. It is cartridge converter filled. It comes with an international long cartridge and a converter. So there you have it. And also, please do check out the Goldspot Instagram page and check out the hilarious reel that the Odd Oink made. It was hilarious. He called me up and he told me he had this idea for this video on it, and it just cracked me up just hearing about it. But nothing prepared me for how actually funny it was when I actually saw it. So again, this pen is available exclusively at my sponsors Goldspot and provided by my sponsors at Luxury Brands of America. Check out the affiliate link and use coupon code Garfield at checkout. And then last, limited run of sponsorship, brlcoffeeco.com. My good buddy Neil is depending on you to check out brlcoffeeco.com, and be sure to use coupon code Roy at checkout for an additional savings on all products on the brlcoffeeco.com website. Okay, so that's it for sponsorships. Now, got lots to talk about, I think. I'm not sure, or we might just banter. I'm giving you guys fair warning. We're going to talk about pens. Yes, we're going to talk about other things. I might talk about the Leonardo Supernova. So we are totally unprepared, and this is where the warning comes in. I just want to give you guys a quick disclaimer. This podcast is not scripted and therefore will contain potty mouth words, both from Tom and I, mostly from me. So be forewarned. You have been warned. Now, on to the podcast.
The PenBoyRoy Entertainment Podcast. Stay savage.
So, I am feeling a little bit cranky today. Today was an extremely busy, rough, exhausting day. And there's no better way than to, I guess, decompress for me than to hang out with my good buddy, the odd oink, Mr. Odd Oink. So I know that I appreciate you, but today in particular, I do appreciate sitting here with you and just chatting. I'm not going to vent, but I might. But
I think it's going to come out some way or another. We're going to get
right.
there.
This
feels like the opening of a therapy session.
Right. Now, I'm going to say something first. Anybody out there who needs to hear this, okay? And I always try, and I don't think I fail at it, but I always try to be as authentic as I possibly can, right? And in order for me to get anybody listening or watching to understand what that means, I have to tell you what I think, and I could be wrong, what I think it means to be authentic. What I think it means to be authentic is to stand fast, be who you are. And if you're going to say you're going to do something, to do it. In that sense, I fail often because of scheduling, and like I'll say, oh, I'm going to do this by this date. Boom, failed. But failures don't define authenticity. Doesn't define your efforts. It's really how somebody can continue to try even though they fail, right? So you learn from failures. I also think that authenticity means not wavering in who you are and what you think, in spite of what other influences try to change you. Okay?
Okay.
I think authenticity is really important in being grounded and satisfied with who you are. A big part of authenticity for me is being very clear about where you draw lines and boundaries. Sometimes I have difficulty establishing boundaries with other people. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you an example of what that means. What that means is like, if you say to me, hey, Roy, let's go to, I don't know, let's go to the movies.
Okay.
And I don't want to go to the movies. Let's say, Tom, you said that to me. Let's go to the movies. I would say, hey, dude, I'm just really exhausted. I had a rough week. I don't feel like going to the movies.
Right.
Right? And then you turn around and be like, dude, but I don't get to go to the movies very often. I really want to go to the movies. Mm-hmm. I will waver and be like, all right, fine. And then we'll go anyway. You know what I mean? Despite the fact that I just told you I didn't want to. So I waver in that sense. And in that sense, sometimes I have difficulties creating boundaries.
Okay.
And I think the ability to create boundaries respectfully and draw lines is an important aspect of authenticity, a person's authenticity. I'm not a psychologist, but anybody listening out there, just put in the comments or send us an email. Tell me what you think authenticity is. If you think I'm wrong, or if you think my definition of it is wrong, that's fine. I'm not claiming to be a psychologist or social worker who knows what he's talking about. This is just my thoughts. Mm-hmm. Now, I do have areas of I guess, fractured attempts at authenticity. But like I said, I'll fail, but I'll keep trying, and I never will stop trying. Mm-hmm. Where I am rock solid is, I think, in talking honestly and truthfully. So I'll talk honestly and truthfully to the best of my ability, and I won't waver from that.
Well, we have a term for it. My
that?
wife and I. It's called no filter.
No filter. I think that too. But like, for example, no filter is not knowing time and place. And I think I'm pretty good at knowing time and place. For example, if you're telling me that you just experienced a tragedy, I'm probably not going to tell you about the traffic jam I just sat through.
Okay.
right? So that's knowing time and place. I don't have to say it at that time and at that place.
Well, it's like contextual,
Right.
informing.
What I'm talking about is this. I think I was a decent pen reviewer, right?
You was.
I
Like,
I have to. I'm going to start getting back into it once I get everything set back up. And one of the things that I think that made me good at being a pen reviewer is if you give me a pen that's crap, I'm going to say it's crap. I don't care if you're my worst enemy who gave me the pen or you're my best friend who gave me the pen. It's irrelevant. I'm going to talk about the pen, and I'm going to be as objective as possible. Now, I think that Dr. Brown, SBRE Brown, is correct in that there is nobody who is able to be completely objective. The only way to be objective when you're talking about a fountain pen is to simply name the parts of the fountain pen. That's essentially what he said in the video, and he's right. So opinion, a lot of times, is attached to my most objective perspective possible. So I guess
we're
that
human. We have
Right.
thoughts, and then we also have feelings which guide those thoughts.
Right.
So you have your own particular feelings that could be depending on, like you said, if you're in a grouchy mood that day, and something comes along, you see it, you review it, and it doesn't really hit you the same way because it just, it doesn't feel right because you're
Right.
in that mood.
Right. Now, having said that, I try to not let my mood impact what I'm reviewing. All right, and that goes for anything when I talk about it publicly, like, for example, on this show. Okay? Now, last episode, we talked about the New York Metropolitan Pen Show. I gave my opinions based on my observations, right? And what it turns out was particular people involved were appalled and hurt by what I talked about regarding the show. Okay? But here's the thing. I listened to that show because I have respect for the gentlemen who run the show. And when they tell me that it was something that was appalling and misrepresenting, I have to make sure that I didn't say something that was not correct, absent perspective and opinion. Right? Because my perception of something is my perception of something. I can only share what I perceived, and I can only share what it is that I observed. Right? And when I said stuff about the show, such as, to me, it was lame. That is my perspective and opinion on the show. Right? And when I said things that I observed, that is observations that I made. Okay? I'm going to be very truthful about it. I'm going to be truthful about what I thought and about my opinions on it. There's nothing else that I'm going to do.
Yeah, and you did not have the highest of opinion of the show. I think
It wasn't a flattering
Yeah.
It wasn't a flattering review of the show.
I just remember the big takeaway was that you had this story with your friend that used to train doing
Right.
martial arts with, and you bought some pens that you were just handed him over a wad of cash and was like, I will buy pens from you. I don't care. I love
Right.
seeing you, and I love that you're doing this and you're living a great life right now, and that you were into pens all along, and I had no idea. So
Right.
there was this special moment that was there thanks to the show, but the
Right.
show itself from a standpoint of, hey, is this a good show with a lot of stuff going on? Not so much.
Right. And I don't think that I can say or do anything else than give my honest opinions and perspective on it.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Right. But it does concern me that people, the individuals in question, feel slighted by what I did, by what I said. Mm-hmm. And it concerns me because I care about them.
Yeah.
Right? Having said that, though, I don't believe that anything I said wasn't true. Like, saying something that's not true is like saying, hey, the location was at the Sky Dome. It's not. It was at Hofstra University. Saying something untrue was like the entire place was painted green. It wasn't, right? Saying things that are not factually true is different from having an unfavorable opinion. You know what I'm saying? And my intent with talking about that show was simply to talk about my perspective of the show. It wasn't a hit job. It wasn't to hurt or harm anybody. But at the same time, it wasn't favorable. And that's just really too bad. And that's not on me that it wasn't favorable.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the only thing that I do recall, and I remember seeing a post about it a couple days later from one of the people that I follow on Instagram, was I was asking about the Nibmeisters, and I think you had even said like you weren't sure, but you didn't think you saw any. But I know that there was, I think, the JC Ament, or I think it was the Nib Taylor, I think he is.
Oh, okay. He was there?
Yeah, I'd seen like a post is like, oh, at the, this was something that I did at the New York Metropolitan Pen Show. I think, but the thing is, like, you were, not 100% certain, but that's not what you were looking for. But like,
right.
So
what I said,
like you weren't sure, but I don't think I saw any there. Like
I said, I don't think I saw any.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean there wasn't any.
Exactly.
It just means I didn't see them.
Yeah.
And the truth is, there was lots of empty space. And that says to me that the tables weren't filled. And I got to say, though, in comparatively to past experiences, it was a lot slower than it was before. And there were a lot of comments that I got from viewers and listeners that said the same thing. The words that they used were sparse, so I think it's something that they took to heart.
Well, I mean,
the guys,
looking at it from their perspective, this is kind of like their baby, It's
sure.
When people are involved in putting something together, and they want to see it succeed, they want to see it grow, and then they see that it falls short of people's expectations, and people are vocal about it. Of course, it's upsetting. It's very upsetting because they're emotionally attached to it. So.
Yeah. So it also becomes more than just upsetting. It becomes hurtful. Right? So the weight of words definitely can cause somebody pain. And I think that's what happened. The way I said things might have made them feel bad. You know what I mean? And I get it. But I'm not sugarcoating anything. I won't. I don't do that. I think
one would think that just because we're talking about pens, we're talking about, writing with pens and fountain pens and nibs and things like that, it's completely, frivolous and free of any sort of stressful emotions. But there are, in the business, there are definitely people who are invested in this in more than just like a financial aspect, that this is like their,
it's a passion. It's a lifelong passion. Sure.
There are careers that are at stake. There's a lot of skin that people put in this game, and
sure.
And you don't really think it's just like, oh, whatever. It's just a pen. It's
right.
like, oh, it's just my, this is my little collection of pens or whatever. But like, no, it's like this sometimes this is people's livelihood. This is like their identity. It's intertwined with each other. Very deep.
Yeah. So anyway, to my understanding, there were 3 people working on nibs. I didn't see them, but like I said, I didn't whatchamacallit, really look for them. I didn't see them, but that doesn't mean they were not there. And I made that very clear. Also, I think did I say that they were selling broken pens? I can't remember if I said. Yeah, I don't think I said that they were selling broken pens, but like there were pens in like little baskets and stuff like that weren't individually wrapped.
I do recall seeing something like that. A couple of people had that. I mean, that's common though. I feel like to any pen show, there would be like one person who's just got stuff for parts, and you could go digging through the bin, and if something matches with what you need, then awesome, you just stumbled across gold. So yeah, but that happens,
Yeah, I hear it. And so if I said that there were broken pens, then I think that what was off-putting was that they weren't selling broken pens, they were selling pen parts. That to me is semantics. If you're selling pen parts of pens that are not functional,
that technically is broken. Yeah,
you're selling broken pens. So if anybody thinks that my statements regarding the Long Island Pen Show or New York Metropolitan Pen Show were not truthful or incorrect, then you have a different opinion than me. It doesn't make it not truthful. I am telling you what I saw. I'm telling you what I observed. I am telling you my perspective and what I experienced. And that's it.
I mean, out of anybody, you would want to see it become bigger because it's like your home.
Of course.
It's like it's close to you. So it's like when you want it to, you wouldn't want to see it like get shut down next year. It's like, oh, well, because
of course not.
PenBoyRoy's comments, now no one's coming to this pen show, so we're going to have to shut it down. It's like, who does that benefit? Does that benefit you? That doesn't benefit you.
It certainly does not, and I wouldn't be able to live by myself if I caused that.
But I just shot myself in the foot. I can't go to a pen show now that's nearby.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. What I want for them is to get bigger, for them to expand. Because the vintage, in my belief, I believe the vintage pen market is a niche within a niche. Wouldn't you say? Like in the fountain pen industry, since you're in the industry, what would you say is a bigger market? Vintage pens or modern pens?
Modern, for sure.
Modern,
It's usually when people are dipping their toe into fountain pens, they will step into the modern. They will find a brand new pen before they find a vintage one. It's most of the time. I mean, there will be some instances of, oh, my grandmother just gave me a collection of pens or whatever, and the first one I got to try was a Parker Vacuumatic or whatever. That may be, but that's, I think, far from the norm. I think a lot of people
100%.
these days, especially the younger generation, they're getting their hands on, let's say, like a TWSBI or any of the variety of the entry level pens, and they're trying that out first. Pilot Varsity, Platinum Preppy, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they start to navigate through everything, and they'll find like, ooh, I could buy a pen that's 80 years old and still works beautifully, even better than some of the pens I can get here. And then that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a niche within a niche. You got it.
Yeah, it's a niche within a niche, and it becomes less accessible to people who have a curiosity or just want to try or want to start. And I don't feel like the expansion is there if you focus solely on vintage pens, right? Like, it has to be accessible to people. You get to vintage pens because you started off with modern pens. You tasted the beer, and now you're moving into fine wine, aged fine wine, right? And I think you got to get vendors there. I know that these guys, they handed out a lot of invites and they contacted everybody, but it's telling if they didn't come, if they didn't show up. Like, when we went in August, it was a completely different animal. right? Like, yeah, I remember JJ Lax was there. I remember a couple of years ago, I can't remember what year it was, but Tachia was there. Not just Tachia,
Shugen.
but yeah, Shugen Liu was there, and the distributor for Tachia, which is what's it called? Atoya. Wasn't Richard Binder at one of them? Yeah, I remember at one point Richard Binder was there, Linda Kennedy was there. I mean, it was a spectacle. But this year it wasn't. And I called it like it is.
Yeah.
And that's just, take it for what it is. I can't do anything about saying other than say it was lukewarm. That's it. You don't like that, then don't make it so it's not lukewarm next year.
Yeah. Make it like
You know what
it's
I'm
hot.
saying? Yeah, make it hot.
Yeah.
Get people there. Do what you got to do.
You could take
But-
that ink shot suggestion that I was saying.
You love that ink shot suggestion, huh?
Yeah.
You just want to see people drink ink.
Yes.
What's the matter with you?
That's Instagram precious right there. That is
Yeah.
that's TikTok where that could be the next stupid TikTok trend. People slinging shots of ink, and then all of a sudden bottled fountain pen ink sales go crazy. People are slinging shots. No, don't drink ink, please don't.
Yeah.
Especially Bay State Blue. That'll probably turn everything blue.
You're gonna shit blue for months.
Yeah, you're just basically going to become a Smurf. Like, it will just go throughout.
No,
your
you're
entire
gonna
body.
you're gonna shit Smurfs. That's what's gonna
Shit
happen.
Smurfs.
Yeah, you're totally gonna shit Smurfs. And how do you explain that to your doctor? If you drank Bay State Blue on purpose and you started shitting Smurfs, don't go to the doctor. Just write it out, because the embarrassment of being told you drank a bottle of ink is not worth it. Whatever it is that you have to suffer from drinking Bay State Blue, just deal with it.
Doc,
You might turn.
I drank Bay State Blue and then I chased it with pen flush, thinking it was just gonna flush it right out, and didn't work.
Yeah.
No, we
I guess-
definitely do not condone any behavior of drinking fountain pen fluids whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Please do not do that.
So anyway, I'm done talking about this.
We should make a
don't-
pen show. Let's make a pen show, but not in New York, but like maybe in New Jersey. Let's do a
I don't know how to
New
make
Jersey
a pen show.
Let's
I
do
don't know how to
one.
make a pen show.
Yeah, it would be fun. We could do shots of ink and sell pens. And
I'm not drinking ink unless it's keto friendly.
would you say you have enough pens that you could have your own table? Like, if you would have like your own, like, you could spread them all out and be able to sell a whole bunch of pens. Would you think you
No.
have enough pens for that? No,
No,
not enough
No.
variety.
it's not that though. I don't find the idea of taking my pen collection, I don't feel like that's appealing to me.
What, like the actual transacting the selling part of it, or taking, or basically giving it, like not owning it, and like you need to own it, like it's part of your collection. It's yours. Like you're saying,
I just
you don't want to part with it.
It's not that. It's not that I don't want to part with it, but I feel like there's pressure of that's why I stopped using even eBay to sell my personal pens, is I feel like once they take it and something goes wrong, that's a stress and burden I don't want to have to deal with. I'm not a retailer, so I can't replace it for them. You know what I'm saying?
What are you
So-
saying? You're gonna sell people lemons? Is that what you're doing? You have a whole bunch
Yeah.
of lemon pens there?
I
That
just,
they just
but it,
deteriorate because you were
Yeah, I
screwing
mean-
the caps on too tight.
maybe I just don't know. I don't know. So I can't. I don't know. I guess I can't stand behind it because I can't replace it with anything if something went wrong. So I don't know. I don't think I would ever go to a show and sell off my collection or anything like that. And that's why I give them away a lot to people at work and stuff like that, because I just don't. I don't know. It's
You
not
can't
to
complain
me.
if
It's
you
not,
got it for free.
yeah, and it's not like a used PlayStation 4 game, right? Mm-hmm. It's a disc. It's always going to work. But I don't know if inside the pen maybe there was some crumbling piece of the feed and now it doesn't work. But when I had it, it did work. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden later it doesn't. I don't know. I just
Or
don't
like for
think that I
you,
would.
it wrote perfectly, but for somebody who, let's say, is left-handed and writes on a slant,
Yeah.
overwriter, it doesn't write well at all. Like it skips all the time. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, going back to, I go to shows, but I'm not going to be in a show. You know what I mean? I don't feel like, and you know me with logistics. I'm like, I'll fall over like a deck of cards. But
You're like, oh, do you you have a swipe reader for my card? It's like, what are you talking about? Just give me cash. It's like, no one carries cash anymore. It's like, I need to pay by card.
Around. I carry cash around all the time. Yeah. But, just to close out the previous conversation, it's the episode 161 on the recap of the Long Island Pen Show. I still stand behind what I said. It is what it is, because that's what my perspective and opinions are. I won't apologize for it. I don't sugarcoat things. And if a pen is garbage, I'm going to call it garbage. If it's a gold nugget, I'm going to call it a gold nugget. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you gave it to me. And that's why I love Neve so much. Neve provides me pens for review all the time. And when they're garbage, I call them out for being garbage. I'll even call them on the telephone and be like, hey man, this is shit. At the same time, if he gives me something great, I'll call it great, and I'll tell him. Mm-hmm. He doesn't take it personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he also takes feedback. That's how you improve. Mm-hmm. You take criticism and you digest it and you try to improve. You don't tell somebody that they are wrong for having an opinion. You know what I mean? So I might have been wrong for being harsh. That's my personality. But when you know me, that's what you sign up for.
Oh, we were talking about authenticity, and I think that's, it's like,
right.
If you were anything different, I'd be like, what's going on right now? Why are you being so delicate and trying to, put this in such a nice way? It's like, why are you handling this like a dozen eggs right now? It just doesn't make any sense.
Right. And a lot of times also, if I come across as harsh, it's because I believe and respect the person enough to think that they can handle it and they don't need to be treated like a rose petal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I understand that people have feelings and that this was their baby and they're so attached to it. But you can't blame me for calling it like I see it. That's what it was. You might not think so, but I am telling you, and I don't care what happened, how great it was last year. I don't care how great it was the year before or for the last 10 years, the last 20 years. I care about that one product that I experienced that day. Yep. And that is it. I'm not going to say it's great. Right.
All those things that you did before, all it matters is what you just did right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's harsh, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
You have
that's
to.
Just with anything,
right.
We work so much on. For example, if somebody has a issue with the gamma green pen, they're like, I don't like radiation. This is awful. This, I think this green makes me feel sick. It's just, that's. That it takes all strokes for people. Like it's just
that doesn't really make sense, because just so everybody is clear, this pen is non-ionizing and is not actually made of anything that emits any kind of radiation. I need that to be clear. This is a non-radioactive pen. It is just named after gamma.
It radiates
because it sounds cool. It radiates awesomeness, but non-ionizing awesomeness that does not cause any cellular damage.
Your DNA is safe from this pen.
Like, it's not a plutonium rod. I just chose it chose the green because gamma green sounded cool, and I like the
green's
color.
Your favorite color?
Green is my favorite color.
It's got a very nice translucency to the material as well.
It really does. I really do enjoy it. And you know what I love? I love the balance of it. Even if it's not posted, I feel like it writes really well. It's light. It's balanced. I just wish they would brand the goddamn nibs. Like, I don't have a problem with Schmidt nibs, but fuck, how cool would it be if it wasn't that generic looking Schmidt nib and it had Benu on it? Why can't they do that? Do you know why?
I don't know. I guess it's. Well, you said that was was it a Schmidt or a Yovo 5?
It's a Schmidt nib. It's a Schmidt
Schmidt
nib.
5. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I say Yovo earlier?
I think you said Yovo earlier.
Okay. Well, I fucked up earlier. And see, that's a mistake. I made a mistake. It's a Schmidt number 5 size stainless steel nib with a feed. I did say Yovo.
I know
just
everybody
so
brands
Yovo.
the Yovo stuff, and I think they also people are easily able to brand like if they do a Bach nib, but I think because of the fact that Schmidt already brands them to start with, and they put that very convoluted symbol of like what the nib size is, especially on the number 6 one, where it's just like it's in this ornate little square with a circle and got the scripty letter inside of it to indicate whether it's fine, medium, or broad. It's just this like, I guess there's no room for customization because that's how it comes from Schmidt to start with. But
Yeah.
well, I mean,
That's a good
I like the nibs, and I think that they get the. I'm pretty sure they get the parts sometimes from either Yovo or Bach, and I think they're getting them from Yovo at the present time.
Yeah.
So, but it's just weird that like, it's like basically all of the nibs, or at least like 80% of them, come from just the 2 factories in Europe, and that's like in Germany. It's like what can no one else make a pretty decent nib that. They could be like a competitor to them, but I guess because of the fact that they're so inexpensive or that they're cost effective for all these brands to use. I don't know.
Yeah. But let's go back. Let's go take a look at some comments. Let's read some comments and questions and stuff.
Where we looking at comments and questions from?
I'm just looking at the YouTube of the last episode because we talked about doing a podcast at the Pen Show. And Timothy May says something really cool. He says, do the podcast at the Pen Show, but also do it as a roving reporter with questions like, what was your first pen? How did you first become infected with the fountain pen virus? I find those stories always interesting. And definitely autograph the seltzers, even if they don't want you to. Put them in a wrist lock and just start signing stuff. I think that's hilarious. And Timothy, just so you know, I think that's a great idea, the roving reporter type stuff. My idea was to do that, but in random places where people probably have no idea what I'm talking about and look like I'm crazy. And then when I do run across the one person who does love fountain pens, and it just happens to be like a fountain pen enthusiast, then you give them a gift, like a giveaway gift or something like that. And then it would be fun just to record it going up to random people and see how many people get pissed off at you, or how many people look at you like you're totally insane or whatnot, right? So.
It just would be funny to really get up in somebody's face and like shove a microphone and then they'd be like, what's your favorite pen? What's going on?
Yeah, so, okay, I want to read the next one. Marilyn Gardner, 4269, 5 days ago, she wrote, thanks for sharing the story about your old friend, PenBoyRoy. By the way, Marilyn Gardner is into fountain pens. She likes horses. She's a good friend who is also on Instagram. But she says, thanks for sharing your story about your old friend, PenBoyRoy. What a great story. I actually collected Schaefer Balance pens in the 90s, and I love that model too. Technically, it's a Schaefer Balance 2, I believe. She is 100% correct. Marilyn, you're 100% correct. I stand corrected. It is a Schaefer Balance 2. I don't know if the one was the one with the lever filler, but I know that there's an old one, there's a newer one in the 90s. That's the one that I really, really like. She continues to write, I have several, but not the lovely green one you have. Tom mentioned having issues with Levenger pens back in the 90s. There are a lot of complaints about their nibs. Oh, I didn't know that. I wonder what the nib complaints were. I got rid of all of mine except one, And on that one, I replaced the nib. Oh, fun fact, the TWSBI nibs fit perfectly in the old Levenger True Riders. So wait a minute, did you, I have to know, Marilyn, did you replace it with a TWSBI nib? What nib did you replace it with? And does that not drive you crazy having a different branded nib in a different branded pen? Because that is almost like an electric chair tasing me in the balls, drive me crazy. But anyway, she continues, right, I'm not sure whether that's still true, but the swap made the one True Rider I have a much better writing pen. Cool. Great. But what nib? I have to say
That's
the
probably
Levenger
like the
that
number 5, I think, the number 5 size.
I know, but
one fits on
what
the nib.
brand?
The TWSBI.
But she mentions the TWSBI. She doesn't say that it was the TWSBI.
And saying that the swap made, but the swap made one of the True Rider I have a much better writing pen. So I'm thinking that she swapped the TWSBI mini nib onto the True Rider.
She's being, what do you call it? Like, what's the word? Ominous about it. She's not telling us what nib it is that she switched it out with, but she is alluding to it. But anyway, I would like to know, Marilyn, just put it in the comments, please, what nib you switched it with, and does that not drive you crazy that the nib branding is different from the pen brand that you're using? Because it would drive me crazy. If it doesn't drive you crazy, that's cool. Anyway, but the True Rider that I have, the Levenger Kyoto, that one writes like a savage. I love it. But she also ends the statement with, the Kyoto is a very pretty material. I remember it. Well, I'm also curious, which one did you keep? Like, Marilyn, which did you keep? Did you keep the Kyoto or was it a different color? Let us know. Anyway, another comment at Postmodern Tribe. I did a seminar at the Pen Show on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Very sparse compared to the years before, and you are right that there were lots of empty spaces. Yeah, so
it's weird that
like
you're seeming to see a different name than I see it publicly on the YouTube on the comments on YouTube. Yeah, you're seeing like, because I see Mike that wrote that comment, but you're seeing, I guess, maybe like their
I'm seeing
or
their
something like that.
Yeah, I'm seeing their handles. So like, for example, the next comment. But yeah, postmodern tribe. Like I said, I wasn't there Sunday. I was there Saturday around 2 p.m. and it was not what it was in the past, in my opinion. All right, so I mean, listen, this guy's seen the same thing that I did. Okay, Calc Prof wrote, Atlanta Pen Show a few weeks back was worth it.
A few weeks back.
Oh, a few weeks back
Yes.
was worth it. Drum Ghouls, Van Ness, several smaller stores, a whole bunch of small makers, Franklin Christoph, Jonathan Brooks, several others, representative from Jaffa and Pilot. Not a huge show, but high quality. See, that's what I'm talking about. Drum Ghouls wasn't there. Van Ness wasn't there.
Yeah.
Franklin Christoph, like...
All right, so maybe what do we need then? Because
but that's what I'm talking about. I wish the first pen show I ever went to was the Long Island Pen Show.
Yeah.
Like years ago, it was at Hofstra University, and I think it was 2017. I interviewed Richard Binder and Linda Kennedy that day. Mm-hmm. It was so cool, and they were awesome. They were doing there was a hotel nearby that I interviewed them at, and then I went to the show. I think the following day, but the show was loaded, and like. These guys were there. I don't think Yaffa was there.
I'm just thinking of, because like when we were talking about it earlier, and we were saying, oh, I never do a pen show, but like, what if you were to build a pen show from scratch, and you'd say like, I need a few exhibitors that are definitely going to be major crowd draws that people are going to be like, this is worth it because A, B, C, D, E is coming, and those are going to be people I want to see. You would kind of have to blend it together. You'd almost have to make a roster of, you'd have to build it out with like some Nibmeisters, some people who do vintage, one that's like a full service type of retailer that will have other things besides pens like ink and paper, and a good variety of each of them. You'd have to have some people selling some like ephemera type of things, that's stuff that knickknacks and stuff that you would have never even imagined, that you would have like fallen in love with, but you see it and you're like, oh my God, I need to have this cat washi tape right now. Like you have to be able to kind of put together a good mix of people, and like who would that then be for some people. And I reading his reply, I see that in that, like, we're saying, like, you have Dromgool's has got a great selection, lots of modern pens in there, lots of great brands that people love, like Retro and Leonardo is they, I know that they sell those. Even like some of the more smaller makers, they also sell too. Van Ness is another one too, and they usually do a lot with ink. So they'll have lots of ink and paper that they'll bring, like virtually any type of ink you could think of, even the stuff that's hard to get overseas. And then like Franklin Christoph has got like that prototype table that people like go like hungry sharks after when the show first opens. And then, Jonathan Brooks is like a superstar in his own right because of his material. And then if you have a brand like, if you have a distributor like Jaffa, we were saying that last week too, that if you had Jaffa, you have like a billion different brands so they would take up like a whole entire wall with all the brands that they represent. You'd have stuff from Italy, you'd have stuff, you'd have stuff like that with Monteverde and Conklin. You have a whole variety of different things there to be able to get a good cross section of what the pen industry is like and what pens are available to you. And I think really the only thing I could think of that would be missing from that comments list there would just be like, a few vintage dealers, just to be able to give a little bit of that, vintage soul to a show, and have some of those people who have been to a ton of pen shows over years and continue to have like awesome collections. Like Sarge Minhas is one, that comes to mind. He's the one-man pen show. He's got tons of, pens that he'd be able to bring there. So yeah, what would you feel would be some people that would be like a must go to see at a pen show, like that you would want to, if you were to make a pen show from scratch, who would you want to come and be at your pen show?
Who would I want to see retailer wise?
Well, like anybody wise. Like if you come to a pen show and you're like I'm coming to see, like I actually know one right off the bat. I know one that you would say, I'm waiting for it. You're gonna tell me it.
Okay, so if I was going to a pen show, I would certainly be excited to see, of course, the standard big hitters, Jaffa brands. I want to see Kenro there. I want to see, and I'm talking distributors now, but I want to see luxury brands there. If we're talking retailers, I can't go to Dromgool's. I want to see Dromgool's at a pen show that I'm at. I can't go to Van Ness. She's all the way, where is she? North Carolina?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas. I can't go to fucking Arkansas. But if Van Ness is there, I'm going to be like, shit, I got to go to this show, right? I want to see, what's the one in California? The big store in California.
The big store in California. Are you talking about? Are you talking about like Nibs.com or are you talking about the old Bittner?
The old Bittner, pleasure
of writing.
Yeah, I want to see them there. I want to see Farnese. That would be great if Farnese were there.
I don't think they.
Right?
I don't think they go to. Do they go to any shows? I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. No. But how cool would it be? To me, it would be super cool if they do. Tatya. I want to see Tatya there. I want to see fucking Laban there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Get Jerry out there.
Yeah, like I want to see these guys at this show. And I want to see them because I can't visit them because I can't travel like that. I can't, it just won't it's just not feasible for me. But if there's a show in Philadelphia and I can go to one place and I can visit all these retailers in one place, like I would love to see Kevin Tiemann there. I'd love to see Fountain Pen Revolution doing a show. You know what I mean? I would love to
still
be able
the
to.
Name that I was thinking of right off the bat.
What was that?
You didn't say the name I was thinking of right off the bat.
Say it.
Ryan Krusak.
Oh yeah, Ryan Krusak. Holy shit! I can't believe I didn't say that. Ryan Krusak.
You went through so many people, and how?
And also the stud with the older guy with the white head. He's very skinny, but he makes Oscarson. Right?
Oh, David Oscarson. Yeah.
David Oscarson. Like, I want to see that guy. I can't go to him. I can't go to Ryan Krusek. I can't go to Van Ness. I can't go to Pleasure of Writing. I can't go to all these major retailers. And to see them in one place is so thrilling. That's why I love the DC Pen Show. And I'm not saying you need to. The DC Pen Show gets them all there. And I'm not saying you have to get all of them there. But you got to do something to get some of them there.
Right.
Right? And it's like, listen, I know all of Jaffa brand products. I know of them. I have lots of them. But I don't get to see and hold all of them. When I go to a show and I see Jaffa brand's tables, I get to play with all their fucking toys, dude.
Yep.
That's a lot.
And plus you get to see stuff that is in, like is upcoming or that they have like a little preview of, so it's really cool to be able and you get to meet the people that are actually making them as opposed to just getting the pen in the mail.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't just get to you could see entire lines of Duragraphs. You can see entire lines of whatever it is they have. They show everything. It's like it's Candyland for pens that are at accessible prices that look great. You can try them out. They're on full display. Same thing with our friends over at Kenro Industries. You get to see all their toys. You can play with all their toys. You can talk to them about all their toys. It's just fantastic. You know what I mean? And then you get guys like this. It's a Italian pen brand that Vanessa likes so much. Do you remember the name Santino?
Santini, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Santini?
Yeah.
I can't go to Santini's shop. He's in Italy. But when he comes to a show, I can pick up his pens and play with them. And
it's a perfect
awesome.
Galen. When Galen comes to the
Galen leather, and these are all things that people will go to shows for because the translation of something being on a screen is that question mark that you have, like, is that pen gonna be cool? It looks cool on the screen.
Is it gonna fit in my hand? Are we gonna vibe?
Yeah.
Am I gonna get the heart flutters like when I pick up this item?
Yeah. And your entire wish list is now accessible in front of you. And there might have been a pen that you're like, oh, I just really love. I want to get that because I saw it online. I saw it on Facebook. I saw Instagram influencers and yada, yada, yada. And then you go to the show and you look at it and you're like, huh, thank God I didn't spend X amount of money on this. And then you put it down. You know what I'm saying? Or a pen that you didn't think you would like at all. You look at it in person. You're like, holy fucking wet balls. This is amazing. I can't believe I didn't want it. Do you remember when I bought my IWC Racer watch?
Yeah.
When I saw the picture of it online, I was like, I don't like it. It looks like an AP knockoff. And then when I went to Tourneau several years ago and I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, I love this fucking watch. I have to have it. Right? And that's what I'm talking about. That's what gets people to come to shows, being able to experience that. And then on top of that, I love that other shows are at hotels because it gives people the ability to come to a show, mingle with each other, stay overnight. If you're having a show at a location and lodging is off-site, it becomes kind of a hassle, doesn't it?
And pretty much everything else. It's like if you wanted to eat something, you would go to the student center or the cafeteria, I guess, right?
That little vending machine with a 7-year-old sandwich that's refrigerated in like a triangle plastic tube container. Fuck that noise. Yeah. I want to be able to just go over to the. That's why I like the Philadelphia. That's why I like DC. That's why I like the shows that are at hotels, because maybe you're gonna go there. You can get a room. And get a special rate. And then on top of that, here's the important thing. After show hours, you hang out with people. You connect with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get to hang out with people like us, or like
it'll be cool.
Like people that you've talked to only in passing in an email or a comment on Instagram, and then you're like, I'm actually hanging out with this person and enjoying their company.
And the thing is, though, it really is limiting without those players in the game, right? If you're only focusing mostly on vintage stuff, then all that excitement and buzz that I was just talking about, it's not there anymore. I mean, at least for people who are newer, I think for the younger generation, because I think vintage is a niche within a niche.
Right.
And it's just
I still think
to...
it has a definite place at a show.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Yeah,
it has to be there.
It has to
you
be
can't not have vintage. I mean, listen, all those players I'm talking about, they have all the stuff that you can get easily at Gold Spot, Pen Chalet. I'd like to see Pen Chalet at a show. I don't know why the fuck they don't show up to shows. I love seeing Anderson
Well, they're out in
pens
the middle
at
of
shows.
the desert, right?
Yeah,
They're in
but like that's another one. Anderson. Why is Anderson not at? Why isn't Anderson? How come
They
Anderson
used to
didn't
go
come
to.
along?
I think they used to go to pretty much every single show, or a majority of them during the year. But then like COVID took a big step back, and they have two stores, like the one in Chicago and the one in Appleton. So
Are they? Is it because of COVID, or is? I mean,
well,
let's not
I
presume
think
because
for
I
a
don't
lot
want
of
to
people,
speak for them.
I think for a lot of people, COVID like really backed them off of it quite significantly. But those that there have been a lot that started back up with it, but I don't think that they're one of them that have been around to a lot of them anymore. So I think they have a lot going on with the two stores.
But here's the thing, though: when you bring when vendors like Franklin Christoph shows up, right? What makes it exciting is Audrey, Mike Madison, they show up, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get to meet them. That's really awesome.
I really think that what we're talking about more or less is getting the more parts of the community involved. And you know, not to say that vintage has no place in the community, it definitely does. And I think there are definitely players in that realm that are part of it and that continue to be like big parts of it. A reason why people will go to shows, but you have to invite and you have to get the participation of the people that are very active in getting more people into pens.
That's right.
And I think that's
agree.
That's where the key parts are, and that's why I was saying like you have to kind of build a roster and you have to do it strategically to be like, you know, not just looking at like, oh, so and so sells this type of thing, so and so does nib grinding. It's like, well, do you have Mike Masayama coming, like who's known as like one of the most legendary, you know, nib specialists, nib meisters ever? Or you were saying like, you know, Richard Binder. I know he doesn't go to shows that much anymore, right? But if you have people who have been in it for so long that, you know, have had such a huge following, like, you know, Mark Bacchus would be another one too. So if you get these people who are like really well known for what they do and have huge followings, like you're saying, like Franklin Christoph will come with Mike Madison involved, is like you get more aspects, more groups, swaths of people, swaths of the community involved who have their own audiences now thanks to social media. And when they're saying, hey, I'm going to show up to this show, guess who gets a whole bunch of free publicity to come to the show? The show does, because XYZ is coming and they have their own people they talk to that they want to come to the show to participate. So that's where really that network effect of getting more aspects of the community involved is so much more beneficial.
Get more. I love that. I love everything you said. It makes complete sense. Get more people, get more aspects of the community, and that's where, again, going back to Kenro Industries, what they do is completely and entirely different than anything anyone else does, because they don't just get people in the community involved. They get the most random yet connected, yet the most random yet non-random people involved. They get artists that aren't necessarily fountain pen community people. They get them involved. They get people from the watch industry involved. They get people in the jewelry industry involved. They really do something on a whole different level. You know, Brian, Ryan, and Carrie and Liz. That it's extraordinarily unique, even though I honestly feel like yeah, Esterbrook, it's like fucking Skittles of fountain pens. But whatever. I walked over to their table at the Long Island Pen Show, New York Metropolitan Pen Show, and I'm looking at shit that I've never seen before. Like, they got fucking notebooks. They got tchotchkes, like the book holders. They got candles. They got fucking
butterflies,
like
tree frogs.
yeah, it's insane, and it's all like desk decor that has function, and it's at places like pen shows where you see stuff like that you'll actually see it, be impressed, and then venture off to buy it. If it was just online, you wouldn't buy it.
Right.
But they're not about, hey, we just want to sell stuff online. They want engagement. They want people to have the reaction that I did and be like, holy shit, is that a fucking bee book hold? Like a ginormous brass bee? You know what I mean? Like I don't know why they're not doing a betta fish. I told them to do a fish, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that kind of reaction that I got comes from that kind of display.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jaffa has their own methods. Coles of London also, they have a beast table. Like, gotta get those guys in. Gotta get them in. You get them to come, they're going to advertise like you said, and it's going to draw more people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those players were not at this show in Long Island this time. They just weren't. And you drew a vintage crowd, which is fantastic. I love that. But there was just the energy and the buzz wasn't there. The excitement that I was talking about wasn't there. And there's nothing you can tell me that's going to make me say, oh, it was there. It wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to convince me of that my opinions were wrong. You can give me a history book. I don't care. I am telling you what I saw.
You, Roy. You can't gaslight Roy.
You can't get. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it has something to do with like trying to change someone's mind.
I was trying to tell you that you're wrong. Is your opinion's wrong? It's like, no, it wasn't.
Like you can't. There's nothing you're gonna do to tell me that my experience is different than what I experienced. It's just, it is. That's it. Sorry, you're gonna have to live with it. But I really think that. Are you gonna go to Philadelphia? When
Philadelphia
comes
is in January.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah,
I think I was too busy.
But
fuck. DC, I'm not going to make this year around, which is too bad because I love DC. Yeah.
Hemorrhoids.
That was a secret, man.
Secret.
No, but
by the way,
what?
we just need to give a quick update on because we're talking last week's episode, so the mice situation, because I know probably people are very concerned.
Right, I know, but before you do that, there's a comment here by at Danny G3916. He said, "You guys be glad you don't live around a 55 acre cornfield. Field mice everywhere." Awesome.
So the mice situation seems to be under control. We saw them, and that's what it was so much commotion going downstairs. While I was recording the tail end of the podcast, is that my daughter actually recorded one of them coming from behind the stove. Like, they were coming out while we were still around. You just had to be very quiet and stay still, but they would come out on top of the stove. So they were freaking out, trying to get it out of the house or whatever. So I come downstairs, and we're just like watching as it kind of comes out wherever. We set up a trap, which didn't work. It was very basic. It was a cardboard box with peanut butter and at the bottom, and you saw it. You didn't think that the ramp looked like it was suitable for a mouse to climb up.
There's no way a mouse would be able to climb up that. Like, make it easy for him at least, because it's humane. He falls into the box, eats the peanut butter. You find him the next day, you put him in the field.
Yeah, I would just like drive him to a park that would be farther. I was thinking of it. I'm like that's probably what I do. Is just go to the park that is far enough away. I don't think it's going to come back. So, and then just leave them there, whatever. But what ended up happening was I got some of that foamy stuff, like the triple expanding foam, found it like an area, because we just had the floors redone in the kitchen. And what happened was they took away like 3/4 inches of the flooring to put in the new flooring. So there was a space between the wall and the floor, which I think might have been how they were getting into the kitchen. So I ended up foaming that up, and then foamed up a spot outside that was also could be a suspect spot. And then we had our pest control company that we usually have come to do stuff like that. They came like last week too, and it seems to I haven't seen activity for about like 5-6 days in the house. So I think we pretty much got it. I just have to do one more thing in the crawl space. Is that the one crawl space vent has a broken wire mesh, so I got a replacement wire mesh coming. I'll probably fix that this weekend. So there should not be any mice activity in the house. I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't opt for like sticky traps or mouse traps or kill traps. I just mice are really cute. They're like wild
I
hamsters.
found them cute. My wife had other feelings about it. She was just like, "Oh, a tiny mouse, darn gross." But what's funny though was that the day after the whole thing where we saw the mouse. Is that she likes sending me gifs, like the animated gifs, and she sent me a gif with like "I miss you," but it was with a gif cartoon of Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I'm like, did you really do that like subconsciously, or did you do that on purpose with the Mickey and Minnie Mouse? Because like, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that." It's because we have the mouse in the house, so I was like, I didn't realize I even did that. But it was funny. It was funny.
That is funny. That was a subconscious thing.
little.
She had
slip
mice
there.
She had mice on the
Mice
mind.
on the
but
brain.
all right, listen, it's about time we got to wrap this up.
right.
I think every episode from now on, what I want to do is I want to just scroll through the comments of the previous episode like we did this week. That was fun. So if you guys have anything meaningful to add, please do so. Type
Even
in
if
the
it's
comments.
not meaningful, just let it fly.
If it's funny, if it's crude, I don't care. Throw it in the comments. Tell me something funny, something funny that happened to you. It doesn't have to be related to show, but I'm gonna read out comments from now on towards the end of the show, maybe the middle of the show, or any insider input that you have in regard to what we're talking about, or even questions. Do you have any questions? Maybe we can help you troubleshoot pens or something like that.
You can also email us too.
You could also email us too. Yeah, Tom's good at flagging the emails that we should read and stuff like that. But yeah. Throw it in the comments, and thanks again for watching. Love you guys. And listening. Love you guys. Be well. Be safe.
Stay inky.